Let's go, you guys. Our first semi-final place booked under Thomas Tuchel. You know, what a way to really just seal that game at the end. 2-0, courtesy of Hakim Ziyech, and what a great goal that was. Ben Chilwell getting the assist, Hakim with a great touch, and then you just sensed that he was destined to put that ball in the back of the net, burying it with that low driven, and I feel like maybe it's safe to pose this question now, but is Hakim Ziyech back? 2 goals now in his past 2 games. His influence is growing more and more and more. And as I was discussing in previous videos, it does feel like now he is playing a different way. Before, I had complaints in regards to how Tuchel was using him because Ziyech was kind of playing off the striker, told to make runs and behinds. And you know, if you've seen this guy play, that's just not his game. But I feel like when he plays with Kai, that is the key thing here. We saw this briefly under Frank Lampard. We're seeing it more now under Thomas Tuchel, and I feel like Kai and Hakim really understand each other's game, the interchange, the link-up play, and with Kai, it allows Ziyech to actually, you know, receive in the right channels in the half spaces, in an area in which he does best, receiving down there. So I guess the only frustration for me is that we do have an international break coming right after this game, and 2 weeks now without no football. Please, footballing gods, you've been with us since Tuchel's taken over. Please continue to bless us. Please continue to look out for us. And please, may we get no injuries during international break. Please, I'm talking to you, I beg, because the last thing I'd hate to see is momentum getting killed due to the typical nonsense that constantly affects us, you guys. But you know, let's focus on the game. Let's focus on this very competitive performance today because, you know, for me, especially in the second half, it became more of a game when Sheffield United remembered that, oh, by the way, we are going to get relegated this season. We have nothing to play for. Let's at least play for our pride and make this a football game. And we had difficulties in that second half. But, you know, I don't want to get too carried away with myself, you guys. This game today in general, though, I mean, come on, it's a bit anticlimactic compared to the last game versus Alessi, and I guess that's to be expected when you're making so many different changes in the team. In the lineup, we saw Billy Gilmour coming back into the team. We saw Emerson playing on the left-hand side of the back three. Zuma continued his place in the team. Kepa came back in goal, and as Tuchel said in his press conference, Olivier Giroud started up front alongside Mount and Pulisic. And you know, I guess naturally, again, when they haven't played too many games together, you can understand why the game would be a bit stilted at times. Yes, when it comes to our build-up, we've got that clocked, we've got that mastered. However, it felt like we were lost in translation when we tried to create offensive moves. So thank God we got the first goal, courtesy of Ben Chilwell. You know, this guy's got very good shooting technique, and he forced a mistake from Oliver Norwood for him to score an own goal. And you know, against a team like this today, who had a plan to set out deep and defend, getting that first goal any way we could was extremely important, because it definitely meant that as the game went on, Sheffield United had to push up higher. They had to attack, naturally leaving more space in behind. And I do feel like this is how Tuchel wants us to play. You know, control the game, play in your opponent's half, force mistakes, get the first goal, and then as the game goes on, as more spaces open up, exploit those spaces in behind, as we most definitely saw with the Ziyech goal scored right in the end. Now, before I really continue on, I have to quickly say how disgraceful this referee was. Now, the amount of persistent fouls United were allowed to make in this game today. How many times did we see Pulisic, for example, getting fouled from behind, getting his ankles kicked at? I didn't see any yellow cards. They were allowed to keep making those small niggling fouls time and time again, and the frustration that you get sometimes with referees in our country is just like they pick and choose when to abide by the rules and when not to. Of course, we weren't done by these in the end. However, you guys know I like my consistency. That's all I ever asked for, and today the referees were a disgrace. And I don't know, maybe it's the Chelsea fan coming out in me, but even listening to the TV, it just felt like they were willing United to get back in the game. So now that's out of the way, let's continue on, you guys. Now, I want to focus on some of the performances today, starting with Christian Pulisic. And for me, this was a decent game from him. And to be honest, I'm happy with Pulisic getting more decent games as he's finding his form again. Of course, naturally, suffering so many injuries during the season, it's going to really negatively affect you. It's going to affect your momentum, of course. And he's one of those players that needs time to fully acclimatise and get back to full speeds. The best way to do that is to get consistent game time. However, as Tuchel has stated, due to the strong competition in the team right now, it's hard for any player to get a consistent run in the team. So looking at his performance today, I definitely feel like in the second half in particular, he started to shine more. And I think the reason behind that was because Tuchel made a tactical tweak to allow Pulisic to receive more balls down the right hand side. Now, in the first half on the left, it felt like we weren't getting the ball quickly enough to the left hand side. We weren't creating the spaces because with Pulisic, the profile of player he is, you need to create that space for him to go 1v1. So we kind of struggled to do that at times in the first half. We were a bit slow. Of course, we can't forget too that United, they had their tactical game plan. Playing with a flat back five naturally is gonna make it harder for the attacking players to dribble past opponents and create more danger. But in the second half, when Tuchel played them down the right hand sides, then we start to see Pulisic shine a bit more. Straight from the start of the second half, that ridiculous flip-flap to beat two players, and then you're hoping he does a bit better on goal. But let's be realistic. These guys are human beings. It's not FIFA, it's not Football Manager. You need a bit more time to fully get back into the full swing of everything in your game. And to be honest, how he ended the game was a lot more positive than how he started. And yeah, it was very good to see, very promising after international break. Let's hope that he comes back even fitter and even sharper. I do want to speak about Hudson-Odoi as well. And I felt a bit frustrated for Callum in this game. Now, as I stressed before, United playing with a flat back five meant that it was going to be hard to create moments of isolation to, attack them and go in behind. We saw some decent bits of link-up play with Mason at times. However, it felt like one of those games where he just wasn't getting the service he needed. A few times, Gilmour was looking to play those diagonal balls from deep to try and find him because, throughout the game, it was either Mason Mount mis-hitting a pass, it was players not looking for him in position, players not playing the balls over the top, and, it felt like it was a bit frustrating for him to really get into the game and really do much in that sense. When he moved down to the left wing position, there wasn't really much time to influence things because during that period, United started to come a bit stronger, attack us a bit more, and so it was a mid-performance, but looking at that game, I was really thinking, what could he really do based on how the game was going from a tactical nature? So, let's hope that during the international break, he has a strong period with the England under-21 team, bringing that confidence back, and hopefully he gets more opportunities to play in more further forward positions in the team. Now, remember you guys, I am going to release my player ratings videos where I can go into more detail, so expect me to praise Kovacic too in that video. But to end with my final player, I think Kurt Zouma today really stepped up and really stood out. Now, as I'm constantly stressing, we have one of the most commanding centre-backs in the Premier League. I don't think he's put a foot wrong this entire season, and today he really stood up so big, so tall, some vital interceptions in the end, some vital blocks, tackles. You could see him trying to galvanise the entire team, telling them to concentrate, push up, and he really led by example. For me, he's one of the most underrated players because I feel like when people see Zouma, they just look at him from a point of stereotyping and not from like a racial point of view, but he's a big defender, good in the air, so I guess that means that's the only thing he can do, which is, just not fair on the overall ability of Kurt Zouma. Me personally, even though I can see why Pulisic got man of the match, I would have given this to Kurt Zouma today because he played a decisive part. And for me, another player who played well too was Ben Chilwell. But of course, this game wasn't perfect. And I still feel like offensively, I know I have to be patient. It's not going to come overnight. It's not going to be this quick. But I can't wait to see us become better from an offensive point of view. As Sheffield United pushed higher up in this game, they caused quite a lot of danger, similar to that 2-1 win against them a few months back. And at times, it did feel like we needed that little bit of luck to ride the wave. Mc Goldrick missing an absolute sitter. This guy has been a thorn in our side. Every time he gets an opportunity, it goes in the back of the net. He showed moments of his techie ability, but you know, that moment where he could have really turned things round, he absolutely fumbled it. And for me, this is a prime example of Thomas Tuchel and that luck he's brought back to us. Now, I do think it goes a bit deeper. I think when you play with this much control, when you instill that fear into the opponents, I think it creates these moments where when they get the rare opportunity, there's even more pressure on them to take that chance, because you know that's coming few and far between you. And playing this style of game, this controlling possession style, I feel like it does create more of these mistakes from the opposition. So it's no surprise why our defensive record under Tuchel has been astonishing. I mean, clean sheets after clean sheets, teams not getting any luck on goal whatsoever. And you know, credit to Sheffield United, they really stood up. They stepped up more in the second half to try and get back in the game. But you know, maybe if they approach a game like this from the start, things could have been a little bit different, you guys. But regardless though, we are going to get the draw for the semi-finals later on this evening. So let's stay tuned for that, you guys. Let's hope that we get Southampton in the next round. If we do, then for me, this is the most evidence we need to know that Tuchel's luck is a real thing. But there you have it, you guys. Booked our place into the semi-finals. Right now, West Ham are beating Arsenal, and it does feel like potentially we could be destined to get at least one trophy this season. With how we're playing, with how we're stifling teams, I'm feeling extremely confident, you guys. And on that note, I'm in the FC. This is Blue Lines TV. There is going to be the player ratings video to come out very soon after this, so like an hour and a half. Stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys then.